Hi everyone, I'm Ashwini Lama, Editor-in-Chief at The Dialogue here at the Student Association of George Brown College. Today I'm here to bring to you the town hall for the fall elections 2023. I'm here with one of the candidates for the Director of Operations, Erube Lichuga, and unfortunately one of the other candidates couldn't make it. Her name is Sanjvi Dogra, and we wish she could have been here so we could bring you a conversation and a debate. However, we are joined here by Erube, and we would love to get to know more about why he is the candidate for this position and why you should why you should make a decision between the two of them. So yeah, welcome Erube, and like I've already explained the rules to you, so we'll just be doing like a more conversation. You'll get to deliver an opening statement, and then I'll ask you a couple of questions to just learn about you, your experiences, and why you are, why you're a good candidate for this position, and then we'll give you a minute to close your argument at the end. So if you'd like to introduce yourself and deliver your opening statement now.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah. Let's start. Hi everyone, I'm Erube, and I'm running for Director of Operations because I, just like you, pay a lot of tuition. So when I was paying my tuition, I found an issue that concerns us all. We don't use stuff we still pay for. I'm an accounting student, so that tickles me more than to anyone else, because I particularly know that extra cost without any benefit is not only a waste of time, it's an insult. That's why my main proposal is to make optional fees for certain items that are not needed for many of us.
Thank you so much, Erube. So I'll be asking you a couple of questions. So the first question for you is, as you know, the Director of Operations, anyone who's in this position is responsible for financial related operations here, specifically here at the SAGBC. So would you be able to share why you are well suited for this position?
Of course, my experience started early. When I was about 17, 18 years old, I led a team of research, a research division for my previous university, where we conducted budget reviews and economical reviews of many organizations, local organizations, and synthesized such information and also audited such information in order to give it to the public. My approach has always been to make things easy to the public, easy to you. So that's what I want to do here. Make things easy to you, make them transparent to you, and I'm very suited for that because I have been in similar positions, actually more technical positions than this one.
Okay, so during your opening statement, you mentioned that one of the main things that you're running for is to provide optional fees for students, right? So being able to opt out of certain fees. So since this role requires someone who's able to lead the financial decisions within the organization and also somewhat to keep the organization sort of running with their financial decisions, how would you find the balance between the financial needs of the organization and, like you were mentioning, the best interests of the students?
Yeah, we have to make a clear review of the financial statements to see if there's some areas that are absorbing too much of the cost we have currently. If we have some space to breathe in the organization, we can push to make the students available, have them some space to breathe also, like we have to review and make them more efficient. Sometimes people spend too much on certain things that are not even needed within the organization and within the college in general. So sometimes I know that the student association cannot control everything in the college. That's why we will have to push the college for us to be able to check their statements, to see if there's ways we can scoop out the unnecessary fees. So I will do my part. However, the board of directors, if I get elected, we will also try to push the college to make those changes, because the organization sadly doesn't have the power to do it, but we do have the power to push for it.
Okay, thank you. So as you must be aware, we are only electing for 2 positions this fall, so the rest of the board is already in place. So if you're elected as the new director of operations, how will you, what kind of steps will you take to be able to communicate effectively with the already existing board and also the newly elected director of communications to carry out all of your responsibilities effectively?
I have been in contact with many of the candidates for all the positions in order to see if each one of us win where we have common ground. A lot of the other candidates are also aware of my proposals and support them. The people that are already elected, I have still not contacted them because I haven't won. However, if I get to win, I will contact them to see if there's common ground, middle ground, for us to be able to carry our functions and still be able to give the students some breathing room around their fees.
Okay, thank you. So before we move forward with the other questions, I would really love to clarify, when you say breathing room, what exactly do you refer to? Like anything from your own experience, would you be able to share? What kind of fees do you think sometimes students don't really use? And does this particularly refer to fees from the SA or from the college, like something that's included in their tuition fees or something like that?
Thank you so much for the question. I actually made my research. I went interviewing more than 200 students and found out the main concerns of them. So one of the main concerns I found is that a lot of students are unhappy about having to buy some textbooks that they don't use or platforms that they do not use, you know? So that's one of my main concerns. That doesn't have to do with the student association, but the student association, the whole board has the power to push the college, to submit requests to the college as a collective to try to review those fees. So that's my main goal. Although I know a lot of the power I have, it's not directly related to the college. The student association does have the power to ask the college to review some of those fees if enough students are complaining about them, because we must represent them. So it's more of the representative value of the position. Alongside the position, it will be more about reviewing the organization statements and making it work more effectively. If we can cut more of necessary spending, we can do more events.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so that was more about your position, you as a representative on the board and not specific to the director of operations position, right? So more specific to the operations position, how would you say you would manage the responsibility of being the signing officer for contracts and all of those things, papers at the SA, while maintaining transparency and accountability within the organization? How would you do that?
Yeah, of course. Another responsibility that is directly related to Director of Operations is partnerships. So reviewing the partnerships the SA has with other agents. A lot of our students are requesting for more partnerships, maybe with Metrolinks, so that we can have more benefits with PrestoCard. Because our actual benefits are not enough for most people. Most people are commuting a lot and are getting very bad rates on their current discounts. So maybe we could approach partners like Metrolinks or similar partners to try to make traveling easier for students, more affordable.
In respect to that, are you currently aware about the things that the student association is doing in terms of TTC and transit, because that has been a big area of discussion? So if do you know what the current status is here at the student association with how things are going, and how would you like to change that further?
I know that there exists specific discounts for the GO train, but a lot of people complain that on normal TTC there's not enough of a discount. I know that York University has a special card for their students, that although this university offers a very minor discount, doesn't have a special card. So that's the way I would like to go, to follow York's steps in improving the mobility for students. Because although we have some partnerships, a lot are not complaining about the GO train. more about the normal TTC route that has been accomplished by other universities. So I don't see why we cannot do it as well.
I see. And as the director of operations, since the financials of the SA will lie in your hands, if you're elected, how would you ensure that, giving these extra, like, let's say TTC vouchers to students, how would you balance this with the financial operations? Because usually having to give extra service would mean taking extra fees, right? So how would you be able to balance that?
Yeah, of course. There's always what we call opportunity costs in this type of operations. That depends. Once I get the statements, I will check how tight they are. If they are a little bit loose, we have some room to work with, then I won't have to raise any fees. But if there's no room to work with, then I will have to make a decision either to raise fees, but to benefit students for things that they actually use, not for things they don't use like currently, or to take the cost out of other events that are not as appreciated as the TTC, because many people, a lot of our students are asking for this specifically. So if we make some events that they don't really care about, and instead of doing those events, we can provide them for an everyday benefit, I think the opportunity cost is more than enough.
Thank you for sharing that. So I know I already asked you a question about being in communication with the rest of the board, but would you also be able to answer this question about how would you best ensure that the rest of the board of directors are always informed and meaningfully engaged in operations and the financials of the organization?
For that, I will certainly do the role of explaining the statements monthly, as most accountants do. I'm actually studying accounting, so I have become pretty good at reviewing and explaining how they work and how we can improve. So I will do monthly meetings to review the statements and yearly meetings to estimate the budget and see where there's room to grow and what we can do with the budget.
One of, because although you or anyone running for the ops position might have a finance background and might know a lot about financial statements and how to go about these things, the rest of the board of directors might not necessarily be well versed in that. So how would you be able to kind of provide your support just apart from the monthly meetings, because usually at the board of directors meetings there's not enough time for you to explain everything? So would you do anything extra to help your colleagues kind of develop that kind of financial literacy?
Of course, we can make workshops to improve financial literacy for everyone involved, not only the board of directors. We can make them for students too, so that they can understand. If we are allowed, because I'm not sure if we're allowed to publish them, but if we are allowed to publish the report on the financial statements, they could understand that if they take the courses, not the courses, the events that we will generate on financial literacy. Another way to do it is if there's specific complaints, they can just send an email and we can have a one-on-one. If any of the board has any complaints or questions, we can have a one-on-one when I explain in the best terms as possible for them to really understand what is going on.
Great. Before moving on, I would love to know what you think might be some challenges for you in this position if you're elected. What might be some of the biggest challenges that you think you might face?
Definitely one of the main challenges is the opportunity cost, is to see really what needs to go and what needs to stay in order to do what people actually want. Because I have written here all the proposals I've taken from all the students and all the votes for all the proposals. So I really know what people want to change. In order for that to be possible, of course, we either have to raise fees or make an event to raise fees, or we'll have to take some stuff out of the budget. So for that, of course, I cannot suppose for the whole college what we should do, right? Because we're representatives. So I will have to make a poll for them to vote which things goes out, which things stay in. in order to meet that opportunity cost.
From the research that you have done, would you be able to share any specific thing that came up quite often?
Yeah, of course. A lot of students, my main complaint by far was that some facilities are not working correctly. So we'll have to make requests to the college to fix those things. One of the main requests that I have gotten by far is elevators not working. Actually, I came here on Saturday to interview students and review the elevators, and I see that on one of the floors in Casa Loma, the elevator has a sign that it's not working. People are saying that that's pretty common, especially in St. James and Waterfront. So that's one of our main complaints. Flexible timetables. People say that they cannot attend the 8 a.m. classes and they would like to have more flexibility. And the Presto cards. Those were our main complaints that I will have to make them possible.
Okay, regarding, let's circle back to the Presto card because, I think every student feels very, almost every student who uses public transit at least feels very strongly about getting like a subsidy, like a voucher for a Presto card or something like that. So currently, there was a transit committee that consisted of, sorry. There was an ad hoc transit committee, and then they came up with a decision to provide certain numbers of Presto vouchers, and this was from the the current board of directors. So while doing their research, they found that the cost would be more for students to if they were to kind of bring about like the U-Pass, which a lot of universities in Ontario do, which would be they would every student would have to pay a certain amount per semester, and then everyone would get like free transit for that whole semester. And I mean, not really free because they're still paying for it, but then it's a reduced cost. However, they found out through their research that the cost would be more for students because not everyone is using transit. So, what kind of solution would you suggest to that?
I believe of all the hundreds of people that I've interviewed, almost everyone uses transit. So in here we're a representative for the students, and if the majority wants it, the majority gets it. So even if we don't all use transit, I think it's important to listen to most of us. So I think we can make it happen. And how to make it happen, even if the cost is elevated? Like I explained, there will be opportunity costs. Maybe some events won't be able to happen. But I've learned through my one-on-ones with students that most students do not care about some stuff that's been offered to them, but they do care about this. So I see that the switch from one to the other, a switch from things they don't even want to a switch to something they really want, it's more than worth it. And I'm sure that even if we have to raise fees a little bit, only in that regard, lower the fees for everything else, just put a special fee just for you to get what you actually want, the special Presto card, I'm sure it will be more than welcome by students, especially after I make optional all the other stuff that we don't even use.
Okay. And since you keep mentioning the other stuff, would you be able to point out like a few that you personally don't use?
Of course. I've interviewed a lot of students. They have complained a lot of ebooks. Ebooks they don't use. Ebooks that are unnecessary for the course, that they haven't even opened them and they finish the course, but they still get charged for them. Sometimes they don't even receive the ebooks, but they still get charged for them. So that's one of their main complaints.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you bring the ebook up because this was also like a major point of discussion. I think either last semester or last year here at the SA, where we were talking a lot about why students are being charged all this extra fee. But then it comes back to the fact that the fee for ebooks are charged by the college and not the association. So there's this difference of the organization and. If you're elected as the director of operations, there wouldn't be like a direct way that you'd be able to kind of be able to approach this situation by cutting down costs. So because you mentioned cutting down costs for things like ebook and then helping students get something like the TTC pass, how would you justify that? Because that's college and this is the association, right?
Yeah, I know, but precisely that's the role of the association, to show up for the interest of students. So yes, as one individual, I cannot do it, but I'm also the representative, and I'll be part of the board if the whole board goes along with this, which is what you guys want, is what the students want. So I don't see why they would go against this. If we all push together, and even if we have to collect signatures, whatever we prove, we need to show the college that this is the route we should take, I'll do it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So a major part of your job will also, if elected, will also be to build partnerships with sponsors and review potential sponsors. So how do you envision building relationships with potential sponsors for the SA?
I would really like to introduce more sponsors in the food court. One of the main complaints was there was not enough diversity. I will also want to partner up with some sort of, I know Metrolinx controls the TTC, but even if Metrolinx doesn't respond, we can, there's other people that can fill that function. So I would like to approach those type of companies, transit companies and food court companies that provide those services to add more diversity, because that's what people complained about, not enough diversity in the cafeterias, and especially the transit partners. Those are our main partners that we're trying to seek out.
Okay, and so while considering the sponsorship requests, what would you consider mainly, like when considering these sponsorship partners and the requests and making appropriate recommendations to the board? So what would be the main things that you'll consider?
The main things I will consider is what actually you guys want. That's like my main goal. So I will ask students what they want. I already have asked. I have it right here. So I know what type of sponsorships they want. They want transit sponsorships and they want food court sponsorships. So then we will have to see which are possible and which are not possible. To do this, we'll have to have one-on-ones with representatives of such organizations to see what they can get, what we can get, and if there's some middle ground for us to be able to offer those sponsorships to our students.
Okay, just give me 1 second, please.
No problem.
Yeah, so okay, so you talked about partnerships with the various food food people, and was that also something that came up in your survey with people?
Yeah, a lot of people are complaining about a cafeteria. Specifically in St. James, they're complaining that first they don't accept cash, and second they open they close too early. They open too late. In Casaloma, I actually also interview people, same complaints, and they also complain about diversity. So if we can see if there's enough space for a couple more stores to open, I will happily contact them and see what we can get from that.
What exactly does diversity in this case mean? Is it like different types of food or
Yeah.
more price range?
Yeah, they want more types of food, especially healthy items on the menu. That's what they're complaining about.
Okay, and this is specifically for the SA space, or is it for the college space in general?
Anything the students want, we'll try to get them. If we can do it in SA, we will do it in SA directly.
Mm-hmm.
If we need to get it on the cafeterias by the college, then we will send a request with enough votes by students to show them that that's what they want.
Okay. All right. So I think anyone who has stayed with us through this entire interview would really love to know what your your research or whatever survey you have done, like who you have spoken to. Are these people from all the different campuses? Do you have like a let's say sample size that's representative of GBC students and SA membership? We would love to know who you spoke to, and yeah.
I've spoken to over 500 students across the 3 campuses across the whole week. Last week I went with my own legs to the 3 campuses, one-on-one with each student until I reach 500 students. So it's like a sample from across all the campuses. It's a general sample, so I think it envisions really clearly what people actually want. Because it's one-on-ones, they took their time to think about it, and they send me other proposals by our Instagram page too. So it's really personal. I think it's a pretty effective research.
Something that does come up often, which I've noticed on the essay pages on Instagram, is that people from the other campuses, other than the three campuses, like the TMU, the theater school, um, they feel that they're not as involved. So, because they were also missing from your survey, how would you, as a potential board of director, be able to ensure that they are also equally engaged in the activities that the SAA conducts?
Yeah, for that, the solution is pretty straightforward. We will send a virtual service or have a representative of the student organization conduct service in person, just like I did in the respective campuses, whichever they prefer.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I think those are all my questions, unless there's anyone who wants to ask questions. Okay. Okay, so those are all my questions for you. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us, sharing about your campaign, sharing about the things that you stand for, and also answering all of my questions. Um, I would now like to give you the 1 minute or however long you take to deliver a closing statement to the students to just let them know about who you are and why they should vote for you.
Hi everyone. I know that just like me, you're tired of working so hard, especially in this economy with the rate of inflation that we have, with how hard it is to even get a job, to pay for things you don't even use. Those things that look so little, but bit by bit they add up into a financial burden for you and for your families, because many of you are not even paying yourselves. You know, that burden relies on the back of your fathers, of your mothers, that work till late just to pay these fees for things you don't even use. I want to change that because I'm also affected by it. I'm also an international student. I pay 20 grand sometimes for things I don't even use. So if you vote for me, I promise to at least try to review and try to do my best. I know that the power of a single board member of the board is not enough, but I'll do what it's in my power to bring you what you want, to review and to do what nobody else has done. Actually listen to you. Go one by one with each one of you to listen to what you want. So vote for your financial freedom. It's your money and it's your choice. Vote for Urube. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Urubi, for joining us today for this town hall. It was great having you, and we wish you the best. Um, Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this town hall conversation with Irube, who is one of the candidates for the director of operations position. I would also like to remind you that we have another candidate whose name is Sanjvi, who unfortunately couldn't join us today. So these are your two nominees for the director of operations. We would like to urge everyone to please vote for the candidate who you think will bring the most change for you, who you like the most, and who you think will be the best for the Student Association of George One College. Voting will start on November 27th, which is today. Yeah, and it will end at 5 p.m. on December 1st. And you can vote online and find all of the details on the Student Association website, which is sagbc.ca, on our elections webpage. Thank you so much, and bye.